Hello and welcome back to Your Sky Tonight weather. Well, tonight it's looking not all that great. We've got some early bits of kind of clouds, and then we've got the humidity just sweeping right in. And of course behind the humidity comes more clouds. And if we're really unlucky, behind those clouds comes more rain. So we're doing great. Yeah, it's not looking fantastic so far tonight. It's only midnight here and we've already stopped observing because of the humidity. So the thing is, with the telescopes, if the humidity gets too high, you get to start getting dew on the windows between the camera and the lenses and stuff, and that's not great. And that one's like a pretty definite hard cutoff, because if the dew starts forming, then they have to completely take the instrument out and clean it off and whatnot, and that just definitely kills a whole night of observing. So we got through one sequence, so that's something at least, and then only 2 more images after that. And unfortunately, if I look on the NOAA weather, it looks like the humidity is only going up. So in the meantime, let's look at some more questions. One person asked, what kind of games do you play with the stars when you observe? Mostly it's hide and seek, especially if there's clouds. We're really trying to see those stars, but the clouds keep hiding them, or the stars keep hiding behind the clouds, whatever. We want them. We also definitely play some memory games with ourselves when we're trying to find guide stars. So telescopes work in that we want to point at one star that's really bright and use fancy computers to keep it pointing at that exact spot while the Earth rotates beneath us. And sometimes it's hard to find a really bright star in the field that we're looking at. So we have to kind of poke around through the different chips on our camera and be like, shoot, I know there's a bright star around here somewhere. Where is it? I was also asked what draws you into astronomy. For me, it's a lot of the unknown answers and the chance to kind of discover new things. Even if it is just, oh, this is a galaxy that we don't really know much about, whatever, just because we have a new instrument that we can see it now. It's still cool to kind of know that you're one of the first people to ever see that, and then you go and study it and you're like, I know things that nobody else has ever known. So another question is, what kind of subjects did I have to study in order to become an astronomer? Definitely some math and some physics helped a lot. I have a physics undergrad degree, so there's definitely physics there. But I also took some engineering classes, and I don't know if they necessarily helped to get me to be an astronomer, but they certainly helped me figure out I didn't want to be an engineer. The engineering classes, though, did help me force myself to write down the ideas and thoughts that I have and my process for doing science and making sure I document everything in a notebook. And while that's perhaps not as important in astronomy as some other sciences, it's still really useful when I get back to the telescope after having not used it for a couple months, and I can flip back to my notes and see all these step-by-step how to do everything, the little reminders to myself. That's really nice. I will say, if you think you want to be an astronomer but you're not that good at math, don't panic. I'm not that good at math either. One thing that astronomers tend to become very good at doing, though, is coding, in which we basically make the computer do the math for us. So kind of want to focus on the theory of the math, make sure you understand what's going on. But if you do occasionally struggle to just add numbers, don't worry, you're in good company. I was also asked, do astronomers have a uniform? And I don't know, do slippers count? I think one of the most consistent things you see in astronomy is either Hawaiian shirts among the guys or really brightly covered hair among the girls. And that's always super fun to see at conferences. And then the last question for tonight, do I like reading? Heck yeah, I like reading. I don't get to read as much anymore as I used to be able to. This whole real life job and stuff keeps getting in the way. But I have a book upstairs that I'm looking forward to starting. And when I'm not reading, I seem to be writing stories. So that's fun as well. I realized last night I didn't exactly give you a great idea of what I'm actually doing tonight. So in case you haven't seen my many previous astronomy videos, I'm working on a project that looks at star formation rate across cosmic time. So we're looking at some nearby galaxies and then increasingly further out to measure how fast they form stars, how frequently, whatever. And we're doing that by taking imaging within like the optical bands that we can see, and then we do some fancy subtraction so that the only light left is the light that's due to stars that are actively being formed. And from that we can measure it, and we go back, and then next semester, or really next spring for this data, we'll go back with our spectrograph and take sort of more precise data that spreads out the light, and we can get a better measure of how far away it is. And so then hopefully this will eventually help us to form a better, more complete picture of the universe and how galaxies were forming and maybe interacting with each other.